Hey everybody, I'm here with Nicholas Hardy and Justyn Rounds, who are the co-founders of Dragonjar Studios. How you guys doing today?
Doing all right. Really enjoying life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good so far. The day is pretty much just getting started for me, so it's been pretty good though.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna jump right into the questions here. So my first question I have here is the two of you co-founded Dragonjar Studios earlier this year. Um, how did you meet and decide to start a studio together? Had you guys known each other before founding Dragonjar, or did you meet through Full Sail? I think you both go to Full Sail. How'd you guys
Ye-
meet?
Yeah, so we actually both went to Full Sail University. I've actually recently left due to the fact that just way too much going on in my life. I work at that time. I was working three jobs and going to school. So barely any sleep, family, all that good stuff. But as for the how did we meet? Yeah, we met whenever one particular time in one of our earlier classes. It's the same class I think that I met my fiance in. Um, we he was asking for some help with some code, I believe, and I told him I was like, I can help. So at that time, though, I was more interested in doing like an indie game studio. It was going to be named Shadow Step Studios. Uh, but late last year, we I more or less decided that it was going to be too much for me to take on by myself. Like, okay, I'm going to talk with Justyn, who's also wanting to do his own studio. And we're going to just kind of like maybe merge together and see how things go. And it's kind of went pretty good since then.
Yeah, it
Justyn.
has gone really well so far. Like Nick said, we met at Full Sail when I was actually needing help with some code. The code was fairly simple at the time, but I was still new to code, and so he actually had previous experience with coding his own game in Unity, just a wee bit, and his help was very valuable for me because me as a person, I personally prefer doing things like level design compared to coding. And this school is kind of like a all-rounder. They teach you a bit of code, they teach you a bit of level design, which most of their stuff is more geared towards level design. But
Okay, cool. Um, so the studio is still fairly new. You guys, started it, I think January or February of this year. How's the like first couple months been running the studio and trying to, make plans for the future and whatnot?
Um, in my honest opinion, it's kind of run smoothly the last few months. The first several months of the studio, it was kind of on a rough start. And we're not going to mention names. We had some issues where we weren't able to get some assets going. When we finally put up a job posting to hire some new artists and stuff, it was pretty bad. We were falling well behind. Originally I wanted to release our game much earlier, like late last month or so, but we weren't able to get the art in that we needed to be able to do that. So for these last few months, though, it's gone really well. We've had some really crazy good artists that are really good at their time management.
mhm. Yeah, and like Nick said, the beginning was a little rough. Not gonna lie. Um, we definitely did fall behind on the project due to not getting the assets we needed. And now that we have our two current artists, things have been progressing really smoothly. They have actually been doing a phenomenal job, and they're outperforming our expectations on a regular basis. So they've just been doing phenomenal.
Agreed.
Awesome. That actually has a lot to do with the next question I had. You mentioned, the studio's got the two artists and then, yourselves. That's only a handful of members, about four of you guys. You know, do you plan on expanding in the future, maybe after your game's released, or are you just going to try to keep it kind of small and contained for a little while?
So For now, just until our first initial release of our game, it's going to be relatively a small company. We don't want to try and hire on too many people on before we start getting the revenue in. As for future planning, though, like if we're talking like future within the next year or so, we're hoping to have a full team. One of the expectations is to have close to 100 people on the team. I actually had drawn up how I wanted them to be split up and stuff. But aside that, with the 100 people that are full-time employees, we were wanting to take on about 50 interns. That way we keep a 2-to-1 ratio. Because I've even had this discussion with one of our fellow studios. That one thing that a lot of big game studios have nowadays is you got to have this AAA. You got to have all these massive requirements of, you got to have a AAA under your belt. You have to do this. You have to, it's a list of requirements. It's like you just fresh out of college, you can't expect to have someone to have all those requirements. So we're wanting to bring interns in. And if they just stay for just one game, that's fine. And then at least they have that game underneath their belt. They're like, hey, I helped build this. This is what I did.
Yeah, like Nick said, we're going to be keeping it fairly small for now until our first game's out. We are going to be expanding eventually, for sure. For example, once our first game's out and we're making enough revenue, I actually am going to be opening kind of like a side branch in another country, Japan. So we'll have 2 different branches, the US branch and Japanese branch eventually.
Okay, interesting. That's cool. So Dragonjar Studio has a Facebook page, a LinkedIn page, and a Discord community. And you guys are currently working on a website for the studio. Do you have a time frame or an estimate when you think that website will be, ready for people to view, or what's your plan with that?
As much as I would like to say soon, with the original designer that was actually working on it, they've kind of dropped contact and kind of like disappeared on us. So we're still trying to get a hold of them to see what the progress is. If we haven't heard any progress soon, we're gonna probably see about going different routes for that. Trying to get that site out. Because I know it's a major thing in most game studios is to have your own site. I actually had mocked up one on Google Web Pages, and I just could not figure out for the life of me how to publish it.
Yeah, but we do have kind of like a base idea of how we want the website, though. For whenever we do get it, we just don't have a estimate of when one's gonna actually be out currently. Just because, like Nick here said, contact has kind of been off with our current website designer.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like it's probably frustrating. But I've adopted a saying this semester, it is what it is, and you just got to pull through. So you guys on LinkedIn, your page has 1,000 followers. And at the time of conducting the questions for this interview, you were at like 1,095. So you're probably going to be at 1,100 pretty soon. How does it feel to have that many people looking at your studio on LinkedIn? I'm assuming that, Facebook's probably got a decent amount of people as well. But, how does it feel having people, following you, paying attention to you guys?
I mean, it's a little nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. Because then it sets expectations. I mean, I have my own expectations for the studio, and I know Justyn does too. But with Dragonjar Studios, having more followers, it's setting that premise of you need to be successful. You need to provide what you're talking about to all your followers. A good game where people are interested. Our goal, which I don't know if we have it posted up on our LinkedIn, but it is part of the things that we are going to put into the site, is the fact that we want to introduce games that mix different genres that kind of help bring new players to each genre. Like for example, I have a future game. It's a cross between a 16-bit overworld view, kind of like Stardew Valley, with the farming simulation, but it also has a horror twist to it too. So it's going to have a weird, really. I don't want to give too much information on it, but it's going to be an interesting game.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it it is kind of nerve-wracking with us having over 1,000 followers right now, but it's also exciting. Like Nick said, it does set some expectations for people, and as co-owners of studios, we want to meet those expectations for those who follow our studio, you know? And so it just makes me want to work harder to get this stuff out and going and make sure the games work properly so people can have a good time with our game and have a good experience.
Okay, awesome. Speaking of your first game, it's titled Yokai Contained. Is that how it's Yokai? Okay.
Yes.
Yokai. Yokai Contain, which according to a post I found on your LinkedIn page, is going to be released on June 30th. How's it been working on the game, and how does it feel kind of this close to the launch date? It's only a few months away now.
I mean, I can feel the pressure right now. Like I do all the code for the game, so it's super pressure on us right now, at least on me. Yeah, I know that Justyn's feeling the pressure too because he does all the level design for it. And right now we were originally so backed up on level design because we had encountered issues with the terrain and stuff like that. Even with being a 16-bit game, you still encounter your issues with the terrain and stuff. That being said, I'm feeling like it's going to be a really good game. It's got a lot of aspects that people really liked about the old retro style games, like the side scroller and the like the Final Fantasy turn-based battle scenes and stuff like that. So we're hoping that it's going to be able to really take off really fast, combining those two major games.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be really fun. And like Nick said, he has been focusing on just designing the mechanics for the games, coding everything. And I've been working on level design, which currently I haven't had too much time with lately due to being in my last 4 months of college. It has kept me pretty busy since I'm doing capstone, but it's definitely something worth working for, and getting out there because it's going to be a game that people are going to love. People, Japanese lore, are going to just love this game.
Okay, awesome. I saw a couple images. I saw some of the art on your LinkedIn page. What's the inspiration for the game? I know you spoke a little bit about Japanese lore, but how did you come up with the idea or the concept?
So I came up with the concept due to the fact that when I was doing research through Japanese lore, I came across a kitsune, and it's a kitsune usually cause wars and wreak havoc by getting close to kings, and that there causes a king to cause war with other countries and stuff. And kitsunes are usually, they look humanoid, but they're kind of like fox spirits or fox demons, and they just, since I saw that they were wreaking havoc, I thought, it'd be kind of cool if, this kitsune does something with human emotion and connects the negativity from it and was able to spread it onto other yokai, causing them to be aggressive. And that was pretty much my inspiration for it right there. Finding a way for there to be war and for there to be heroes to pretty much save the world from that impending doom from yokai being contaminated from negativity.
Okay,
And
cool.
and the inspiration for at least the art came from like just the simplicity of it, as well as the mobile part of it. I that one for Justyn. Originally, we were going to do the sequel to it first, but I was like, that's going to be a little much for us to bite off right now because it's 3D. 16-bit 2D is going to be a little bit easier for us to bite off, and if we put it on mobile, it's going to be everywhere.
Mhm.
Okay. So, well, what can you tell me about like the mechanics or gameplay style of Yokai Contained? I know you said it was 2D and 16-bit. Is it going to be like a platformer? What's it going to be like?
So right now, it's set up as a mobile 2D side scroller. With that twist that like you'll enter a battle kind of. So you'll have the yokai that'll kind of like pop out on you, um, out of the ground, and attack you, and then they'll just go into a fade screen. You'll enter a battle mode, and you'll get the options, kind of like how Pokemon does, where you have like 4 different attacks, and then it'll you can choose from those attacks or those actions, and it'll play through the sequences just like the old Pokemon or Final Fantasy games. Once you get through those turns with all that, it'll exit, and then you throughout the what we call the running levels is like coins and buffs that you could possibly find or healing potions that you can store in your item bag. Um, there's a lot of mechanics for it, but the main ones are just the side scroller and the battle scenes for it.
Yeah, and the battle scenes are going to be interesting because I will say there is going to be multiple attacks you can do on it. It's going to be really fun and interesting for the player. And like Nick said, it's a side scroller, so side scrollers, I think of Super Mario when I think of our game because of how the platforming, and you're pretty much like jumping from edge of one platform to another, really, and running along. And so you'll be able to pretty much do that jumping, and then you'll be able to enter caves. You'll be able to just pretty much see a really nice background too in the game.
Okay.
But
Oh, sorry. Do you have more to say?
oh, I was gonna say, but that's pretty much what I have for that right now because Nick here pretty much covered most of it.
Okay.
Sorry, Justyn.
Good.
So, after Yokai Contain is released, what are you guys planning for the future? I think we've talked a little bit about this, but what are what are your thoughts moving forward after the game launches?
So, for after Yokai Contained, there is a sequel to Yokai Contained that will actually be previewed in the credits of Yokai Contained. That is going to be the next game sequel, like the next game for Yokai. The that one will be released. I'm hoping really fast afterwards, but fingers crossed. But that doesn't always happen in the game industry. Things happen. And then we've got a small list of games that we have that we've already decided on for what we're going to do. Got somewhat of a general ideas of mechanics and stuff, but our biggest thing is pulling from our studio to get ideas. Once we run out of our ideas, which we'll eventually come up with more, but we're wanting to pull from our studio, like even our artists, our our marketing engineer, or our marketing people, level designers, all them. As long as they can come up with some sort of a GDD that actually makes sense to us, we'll take their idea and actually attempt to create something from it.
Mm-hmm. And we will be providing a base GDD template so they can see what a GDD consists of. That way they can write the proper stuff in it and we can actually read it properly, without it all being like scattered and unorganized. So
Okay. Well, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'll play it when it comes out. So that's all the questions I have about the studio and Yokai. but I don't know if you guys are familiar with my other interviews that I've done, but now I like to transition to, some, I guess, more fun activity questions. So this question I have for both of you, you can both answer individually. Uh, what are your favorite games, like of all time?
I'll let you go first, Justin, because I got to think about this one.
You're good. Honestly, when it comes to games, I honestly really enjoy the Final Fantasy series. I love the cinematics in that game. I love the story with how it tugs at the heart. It makes people emotional a lot of the time. And like for example, Final Fantasy 14, which I need to play through the last two DLC still, but it tugged on my heart so much when certain things happened in the story, and I just love it.
Fair enough. As I did finally decide on one of mine. If it had to be any series, it would be Zelda, the Legend of Zelda series. I thoroughly enjoy their puzzles. I'm a big puzzle kind of guy. I love to. I especially love the newer games that they just came out with between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Only played a little bit of it, so no spoilers if you know anything. um, but before those two came out, it would have to be The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker was my top favorite game. Like I could play that day in and day out, no problem.
Okay, awesome. Um, so I'm doing something a little bit different here. Instead of like blind rankings or keep five cut fives, I'm doing 20 questions. Do you know how to play 20 questions?
Oh yeah,
Okay, so I've got a 20 questions for both of you. So we'll start. Either of you can go first. But
I'll let Justin go first.
Oh
Okay.
Lord.
So it's video game related. So you got to narrow it down to what it is, but it's related to video games.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let you go ahead.
I will start with, is it a character?
Yes, it is a character.
Okay. Oh, is the character from a fantasy game?
Yes.
Is the character in a long-running series like Super Mario or Zelda, something like that?
Are you asking if it's a long-running series or if it's like a Nintendo
Like,
long-running series?
like it's Nintendo, pretty much.
It is not a Nintendo series.
Okay. Is it a Square Enix series?
No,
Does the player have any grappling mechanics?
no, no grappling mechanics.
Okay. Does the game have platforming?
No,
Is it a turn-based game?
no,
Did the game come out pretty recently?
no,
Is it a character from Metroid?
no,
Is the character human?
no,
Not human. Is the character an animal? Kinda.
kind of. I'll just go kind of. I don't know.
Since it's fantasy, is it also a MMO?
No.
Does the game have character creation?
Yes.
Since it's not human or animal, is it some kind of subhuman?
No.
Is it a RPG fantasy game?
Yes. Yep.
RPG. Is the game made by Bethesda?
Yes.
Okay. Now I think Skyrim. Your eyes made me think it's close. Oh lord. Is it part of the Elder Scrolls series?
Yep.
Is it Morrowind?
No.
Is it an online game?
No. You were right there. You're starting to drift off now.
Drift off? Oh lord. I wanted to say, is it a Khajiit?
No, it's not a Khajiit.
Oh lord.
This is your last question, by the way. I'll give you a hint. It's not a playable race.
Not a playable race. is it a short or tall character? Or well, let's say, is it a pretty short character?
No.
No.
So that was your last question. Uh, before I say what it is, Nick, do you? I'll give you. Do you want to have a go at it? I'll give you like 5 questions, and if you can guess it in 5.
I'll give you one question for it, and
Uh-huh.
I'll probably be able to guess it for the most part. Is it the Age of Grace?
No.
Oh, is it from Oblivion? Like the Oblivion Elder Scrolls game?
No, it's not from Oblivion.
Ooh,
I'll give
does
you
it
a
have to
hint.
be
It's
from?
from
Go
it's
ahead.
from Skyrim.
From Skyrim. Okay, let me think. Skyrim. What?
That's why I said you were so close, Justin, because you were like, I'm thinking Skyrim. And then you like just started going away from Skyrim. I was like, oh, you're kind of getting away from it.
I'm trying to think of the non-playable races.
Do you just want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's
'Cause that's
it's a dragon.
oh, a dragon. Okay, yeah.
It's
So that
it's Parthenax.
Parthenax.
Oh.
Okay, I would have never been able to get an actual name for that one. I don't remember any of their names specifically.
Yeah, it's Parthenax. And I didn't want to say that it was a playable race. I know that there's like I think it's like Dragonkin. I think that you could play as, but they're like dragon people.
You-
Or am I thinking of something
no,
else?
you can't actually play as them.
Oh.
You can with mods. You can even play as a dragon with mods. But I was going based off the vanilla part.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot totally that my mind space that Skyrim had dragons. Because I know Morrowind
I
has
was like-
dragons.
I was like,
Oh.
that's like the one that's about. I don't know, because I wanted to have a question because you guys are Dragonjar about a
Mm.
dragon.
Yeah, that worked.
I picked my favorite. I picked my favorite video game dragon, which is Parthenax. I didn't want to do Spyro because I thought that'd be too easy. But
Fair enough.
Oh, Spyro's a good series.
I've got one more 20 questions, and this time we'll start with you, Justin. I mean, not Justin, Nick. And then
Okay.
if you, hopefully you can guess it, and if not, maybe Nick will be able to. All right,
Okay.
so you're ready.
All right. Is this a game that's single player,
Yes.
based in the medieval ages?
No.
Is this an FPS?
No.
What about an RPG? Is it an RPG?
No.
Okay. That eliminates all of those. Was it designed by EA?
No. No.
Was it designed by Blizzard?
No.
Does this game have crafting?
I think. Let me just double check. No.
Was this designed by an indie developer?
No.
Is it a simulation?
I think like a simulator game or like you're playing in a simulation.
Yeah, a simulator game of some sort. Like, is it like farming simulator or anything like that?
No.
Okay. And I guess I can't remember if you said. Did you say this is?
Here,
Oh wait,
it's
no,
a
you didn't
single-
tell me if it.
Go ahead.
I can't remember if you said if I was naming the game, a character, or
Oh, you didn't ask.
huh?
You didn't ask.
Oh man, is this a character then?
No.
Is this a game series then?
It's just. I'll just give it. It's just a specific game. Specific game.
A specific game. Okay. Is it family friendly?
No.
Does this one have character creation in it?
No.
Was this game released in the 90s?
I don't believe. No, I don't. No, it wasn't released in the 90s.
Does it have fantasy aspects to it, like magic and stuff like that?
No.
Does it have? Is the game classified as horror?
Yes.
Does the game have ghosts in it?
No.
Is it based on a movie?
No.
There's a lot of different ones I know of. I haven't played too much of in horror games though. So this one's a bit of a difficult one. I know the titles and stuff. I've never physically played them. I knew what their aspects were.
It's funny. I think this was originally meant for Justin because he says in his LinkedIn bio that he likes horror games. But
Yeah.
I accidentally gave you the first one.
No, you're fine. I'd rather difficult ones because I like a challenge. Is it a zombie game?
Mm, kind of.
Kind of.
It's like in the same realm of zombies without actually being zombies, if that makes sense.
Is it
It's
Resident
like
Evil?
it's a Resident Evil.
Okay. Hmm. So if we're thinking like if it was after if it was more if it was given out it hmm, this is gonna be fun.
Now
Because
I'm on your freebie question now, the last one.
the last one.
Yeah.
Is it Resident Evil 3?
No,
Was I
it
close?
was Resident Evil 4.
Oh, I
Oh,
was
you were
close.
close.
I
And
was one game off. Resident Evil released early 2000s, if I remember correctly.
Gosh,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. When you said it was kind of like zombies, my mind went to Dead
I,
Space.
I
yeah,
immediately went to Resident Evil because Dead Space has it, but it's not like they're not actual zombies. Whereas
yeah. I
Well,
didn't
Resident Evil was
yeah,
the Umbrella Corporation that introduced the zombie virus.
true.
um but when you asked about the crafting, what screwed me up is I was thinking of the original Resident Evil 4, but uh
Yeah,
the remake has it so that you can like combine herbs and there's like crafting, I think.
but it's
But
not an actual like crafting
not
thing,
well
almost
it's
like Craftopia or something like that.
yeah, it's not like there's like crafting in the new one, but not the original. And I was thinking of the original, so I wasn't gonna. I
That's
just
fair
said
enough.
no.
The original was better. I did play a little bit of the Resident Evil games. I never could finish them, not because I not because I didn't like or well because I was too scared of them, but because I and Justin will even tell you I had the same opinion about every zombie game or movie. They're all ending the same way. Everyone ends up dying or becoming a zombie or whatever. I have a hard time getting into them. The only zombie movies I've ever watched was like Shaun of the Dead or Warm Hearts because they had a very
Yeah.
different ending, and I thoroughly enjoyed them.
Hmm.
Well, my favorite game of all time is in the realm of a zombie game, and that's The Last of Us. But
Oh, there you go.
That's a
but
good series.
yeah.
Yeah, speaking of
So that
zombies,
that's
my
it for
fiance.
the your
Oh, go ahead.
fiance. No, you
Yeah,
or you just say
my
something?
fiance is a big zombie person. She's one of those people that she's got a whole zombie exit plan and everything.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the 20 questions. I always hate ending this part because they're really fun, but I don't have any more. So,
You're fine.
uh, before we end off here, is there anything that either of you, would like to say or add?
Justin.
Um, I will say that for those who are watching this video, uh, if you ever have questions about uh, if there's going to be like any like future games in a certain genre, feel free to reach out to us through LinkedIn or something, and we will try to reply or something. So,
That will bring me to the other point. We do have a community Discord for our fans, or potential fans. We can always answer those questions there as well. We can provide you with the link, Connor, so you can even attach it to this video if you'd like.
Okay,
Or, well, you can
awesome.
snag it because I think you're actually part of the community Discord.
Yeah, I am. I'll include it. Uh, well, again, this was Nicholas Hardy and Justin Rounds of Dragonjar Studios. Thanks again, guys. It was a lot of fun.
no problem. We had a good
Yeah,
time
thank
too.
you.
Awesome.